A very good evening to all our viewers and welcome to this Sunday's edition of Primetime News, coming to you live from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. I'm Arundhati Mudanaka together with our interpreter this evening, Brian De Cruz. Let's start off with a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
Port trade unions summoned for a meeting with the Prime Minister. Will the West Terminal be given away instead of the East Container Terminal? Civic and political groups cast suspicions.
පැත්තෙන් නැගෙනහිර ජැටිය වෙනුවට බස්නාහිර ජැටිය BOT ක්‍රමයට කියන්නේ build operation transfer ක්‍රමයට ඉන්දියාවට දෙන්න කතා කරගෙන තියෙනවා.
අපි නැගෙනහිර ඕගොල්ලන්ට දෙන්නම් කියලා වරායට. හැබැයි අපි බටහිර දෙනවා කියලා කියනවා දැන්. ඒක තමයි ආණ්ඩුව දැන් අලුත්ම සින්දු ආණ්ඩුව.
Venerable Omar Pessoa reveals a ploy used to deceive the people.
රට කොල්ලකන සමස්ත ජාතික වස්තුන් අනුන්ට පාවා දෙන මුළු රටම විකිණීමේ සහ ඒ මගින් කොමිස් සහ තානාන්තර සහ තමන්ගේ ආත්මාර්ථය වඩා ගැනීමේ කල්ලි කණ්ඩායමකට අපි අහු වෙලා තියෙනවා.
A special presidential commission appointed to implement recommendations of the presidential commission that probed political victimization. Steps undertaken to import 2.5 million vaccines from India.
And now the stories in detail. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa expressed these views on the East Container Terminal of the Colombo port during an event in Tangol today.
The opposition does not have a reason to accuse us. We will not give it away or lease it. It will remain under our ownership. I believe the trade unions are aware of this. We wish to inform the trade unions that we have not held discussions on whether we will give it away. Therefore, there is no problem with that. We will never give it away. There is no need to engage in a strike. If they had come and met me, I would have explained the situation. That is because 99% of the cabinet ministers believe that it must not be sold. That is what the president says as well. Selling national resources is not our policy. It is the policy of the United National Party. We were not given the mandate to fulfill the aspirations of the United National Party.
Meanwhile, trade unions have said that they have been summoned for a meeting with Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa on this matter.
The Prime Minister has called us for a meeting at 10 a.m. tomorrow. We hope that a written undertaking would be given to us declaring that the Sri Lanka Ports Authority will hold 100% ownership of the East Container Terminal. We will not agree on any other decision apart from this.
The negotiation committee appointed by the Cabinet of Ministers to inquire into the East Container Terminal at the Colombo port convened this afternoon, and its report is scheduled to be handed over to the Subject Minister Rohitha Abeygunawardena tonight or tomorrow morning. Committee Chairman and Secretary to the Ports Ministry UDC Jayalal said the Subject Minister will present committee recommendations and a cabinet paper tomorrow. How will the new proposal be compiled? Speaking about the matter during a media briefing yesterday, State Minister Dr. Nalaka Godaheva said that a proposal signed by 22 of the 23 trade unions has been handed over to the President.
We informed the President that this proposal from trade unions goes in correlation with the Vistas of Prosperity and Splendor policy. The President's stance on this matter is plausible. I don't see anyone with a different stance on this matter.
The 65th page of the National Policy Framework Vistas of Prosperity and Splendor reads, quote, develop ports to facilitate import and exports while ensuring high efficiency competitive to the other regional ports. Prioritize the development of the East Container Terminal. Feasibility study to construct a new cross-berth terminal between ECT and SAGT. Develop West Container Terminal with private sector participation, unquote. Accordingly, the National Policy Framework does not mention that the East Container Terminal will be implemented as a joint venture or as another investment. However, the West Container Terminal has been specifically mentioned, citing that it will be developed with the private sector participation. These are the main terminals of the Port of Colombo. Ports Authority's Jaya Container Terminal, the private sector-owned South Asia Gateway Terminals or SAGT, the Chinese-owned Colombo International Container Terminals or CICT, and the East Container Terminal. No construction has taken place concerning the West Container Terminal thus far. However, it is the western part of the Colombo port that can accommodate large ships owing to its depth.
There is no issue in giving away the West Container Terminal. The East Container Terminal is of utmost importance. Since the southern port has been given to China, many individuals are of the view that there is no issue in giving it away to balance the situation.
නැගෙනහිර පර්යන්තය වෙනුවට බටහිර පර්යන්තය ලබාදීමේ යටි අරමුණක
We are witnessing that moves are afoot to give away the West Container Terminal instead of the East Container Terminal. This is a severe problem. Any resource of the country, be it the West Container Terminal or the North or South Terminal, must not be given away as a replacement to the East Container Terminal. When it comes to national resources, it does not matter whether that is the East, West, North or South terminals. They are all our resources. All these resources must be preserved for our future generations and protected for the prosperity of our country. We have fallen trap to a clan that attempts to loot the country's resources, give away national assets to external entities and aim to line their pockets by selling off the country's assets. This has not taken place due to the people's fault, but due to the false promises made by politicians. The people have understood this scheme. That is why the people have united as a force against this matter. This has been done in an exemplary manner.
ඒ නිසයි මේ තරම් බලවත් ලෙස ජනතාව ඒක රාශී වෙන්නේ. සමගි සන්ධානයකට පත් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. මේක ආදර්ශමත් සමගියක්.
වරාය වෘත්ති සමිති 23ම එකට එකාවන්ව
All 23 port trade unions were united in this struggle. But apart from Niroshan Gorakhanag's trade union, the remaining 22 unions that have formed the All Ceylon General Port Employees Union had written a letter to the President. We insisted that a decision on the West and East container terminals must be taken by the Cabinet at the same time. We will support the government if the appropriate steps are taken to construct and develop the West Container Terminal. But we have never mentioned the West Container Terminal in our struggle. That is the problem here. We never mentioned the West Container Terminal. Now they are saying that the East Container Terminal would not be sold and that it would be vested with the Sri Lanka Ports Authority. But they say that the West Terminal would be given away. We do not want to succumb to these statements.
ආණ්ඩුව දැන් අලුත්ම සින්දු ආණ්ඩුවේ. ඒ සින්දුව ගායනා කරාට, ඒ සින්දුව වාදනය කරාට, ඒ සින්දුවට අපි නටන්න සූදානම් නැහැ.
අපිට වාර්තා වෙලා තියෙනවා මේ සම්බන්ධ තීරණ දෙකක්.
We have been informed that the government has drawn its attention towards two solutions on this matter. One solution is to trade the shares of the Colombo Port's East Container Terminal in the stock market. Once the shares are sold, the Sri Lanka Ports Authority will purchase 15% of them. Sri Lankan, Japanese and Indian companies will then buy the remaining shares. There is a proposal to that effect as well. On the other hand, they are also looking at a solution that would see the West Container Terminal being sold off instead of the East Container Terminal. Moves are underway to hand over the West Terminal to India based on the build, operate, transfer model. Under this mechanism, the construction of the West Terminal will be given to an Indian company that would eventually be vested with a 100% ownership. We wish to request trade union leaders to avoid making compromises. This is a trap. Do not make compromises in this trap. Do not halt your struggle by falling prey to these promises that the East Container Terminal will not be sold.
මේ ඇවිල්ලා අපිට කෙම්බිම හම්බෙලා නෙවෙයි මේ තියෙන්නේ. පොඩි පොඩි මිරිඟු තමයි මේ දැකලා තියෙන්නේ.
The West Terminal has not been developed yet. However, selling the land in which the West Terminal will be developed is the same as giving away the East Container Terminal to India. These are national assets that need to be developed. The leaders of our country are attempting to make this country a colony of India and China. We must protect all national assets, regardless of whether it is the East Container Terminal or the West Terminal. If the government is attempting to sell the West Terminal to compensate for not giving the East Container Terminal, we will oppose that move as well. This force that we have created to stand against the sale of national assets will be even stronger. This force will ensure that no national asset is sold or leased to foreign factions. What are the points brought forward by the Cabinet? We will be able to witness whether it is passed or not. This effort will only end if the government informs us that they will not sell the East Container Terminal. We want to remind the government that if they decide to involve India, Japan or the Adani Group to develop the West Terminal tomorrow, we will stop our protest to protect the East Container Terminal and start a new one to protect the West Terminal. The Sri Lanka Ports Authority has no plans to develop the West Terminal. Right now, it is only a discussion that is underway regarding the West Terminal.
එනිසා බටහිර කොටස කියන එක යටිය නෙමෙයි කොටස කියන එක මේ මොහොතේ නිකන් කතාවක් විතරයි.
අපි ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ ජනාධිපතිතුමාට කියන ඔයා ඉන්දියාවට බයයි නම් ඉන්දියාවට බයයි කියලා කියන්නේ.
We ask Gotabaya Rajapaksa to openly admit that he is afraid of India. If that is the case, we would like to remind Gotabaya Rajapaksa that the people of this country know about privatization. There is an issue where the port has to be given to India since they sent us the vaccine. The UNHRC sessions will be held in February in Geneva. We heard that India will be voting in favor of Sri Lanka during the sessions if the port is given to them. We also heard that the US ambassador has asked the president to give away the East Container Terminal to India. Since the ECT has created issues for the government, they are focusing on the West Container Terminal that is yet to be developed. There is a southern port. There is an eastern port as well. There are 3 old terminals, so these 3 can be developed and it will create a box-shaped port. Since giving away the East Container Terminal is problematic, the president and his government is playing a political tactic to give away the West Terminal to India.
වරාය ඒ ජැටිය හදලා ඒක ඉන්දියාවට දෙන්න ජනාධිපතිවරයා ඇතුළු ආණ්ඩුව දැන් දේශපාලන සූත්‍රයක් හදගෙන යනවා.
We are ashamed of this. They are trying to sell the West Terminal by assuming that it will resolve the issues surrounding the East Container Terminal. The people will come together to oppose that as well. We asked them not to sell the port. It does not matter whether it is the West or East Terminal that is sold to a foreign or local entity. We are against the sale of any national resource, including the port.
The joint trade union collective called the Vadakarana Janabalaya conducted an awareness program opposite the entry gate to the port. Views were also expressed on the Gazette notification issued by Secretary to the President P.B. Jayasundara declaring port as an essential service.
The President issued a Gazette notification on the 30th of January 2021. What does this mean? The Gazette says that the port has been declared as an essential service. We ask the government if this is a suppression disguised as a solution.
During an event in Nugegoda today, former Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe had this to say about the former government's plans concerning the East Container Terminal of the Colombo port.
We carried out a program to develop the port in line with a memorandum of cooperation that we signed with Japan and India. However, the Adani Group was not named as a part of it. The Adani Group is India's largest port operator. This group also handles ports in Kerala. During discussions in Kerala, we requested that if a Japanese company or Indian company is operating an Indian port, the Colombo port should also be treated similarly. That was all we requested. We told them that if required, they can discuss the matter with the new government and amend the conditions accordingly. But now things have taken a wrong turn and we are planning on selling it. What can I do about it? This was not because of any issue that we created. They accused us of attempting to sell the terminal to earn political merits and more votes. They cannot go back now and say that they cannot sell the port. The public casts its vote during an election, hoping that the new government will set up a program to develop the nation by leveraging its national assets while protecting them. But the leaders who are elected attempt to sell every national asset. Cases were filed against certain members of the present government for their involvement in various frauds and wrongdoings. The president appointed a presidential commission of inquiry into political victimization. This commission carried out investigations and prepared a 2,000-page report, which was submitted to the cabinet recently. This report recommends that the perpetrators involved in the wrongdoings be released and those who attempted to take legal action against them to be arrested. However, the general public demanded justice and punishment for the wrongdoers. The report recommends that the avant-garde case be dismissed, but those who filed legal action against it should be arrested. A red alert was issued on Udayanga Weeratunga. He is a thief wanted by the international community.
ෆොටෝ එක අලවලා තියෙන පොලිසිය මැදවච්චි පොලිසිය පොඩි හොරෙක් නේ ටිකක් ලොකුයි නම් කුරුණෑගල මූලස්ථානේ ඉඳන් අලවනවා රටේ හොරෙක් නම් ගොඩක් මූලස්ථාන පොලිසිය වල එයා ගැන විස්තර තියෙනවා. උදයංග වීරතුංග කියන්නේ ලෝකහොරේ. ලෝකේ හැම පොලිසියකටම කිව්වා දුටු තැන අල්ලපන් කියලා. දැන් කියන මොකද්ද? උදයංග වීරතුංග නිදොස් කොට.
But the report recommends that Udayanga Veeratunga be released and acquitted from all charges and arrest those who attempted to take legal action against him. An extraordinary gazette was issued yesterday to appoint a special presidential commission. The last time such a commission was appointed was during the tenure of J.R. Jayawardena in 1977. It was this special presidential commission that abolished Sirimava Bandaranaike's civic rights. President Rajapaksa appointed a special presidential commission yesterday to summon us. A decision should be given within a period of 3 months. They must remember that we are not doing politics with the aim of becoming a minister or parliamentarian. We will continue to fight for the people and stand against injustice.
හැබැයි මේ අවනීතියට එරෙහිව අපි සටන් කරනවා.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has appointed a special presidential commission of inquiry to implement the recommendations of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry that probed into incidents of political victimization. Supreme Court Judge Dhamiga Priyantha Samarakon will head the special presidential commission that will comprise of Supreme Court Judge Kumudini Wickramasinghe and Appeal Court Judge Ratnapriya Gurusinghe. The Presidential Commission of Inquiry that investigated incidents of political victimization between the 8th of January 2015 to the 16th of November 2019 had handed over its report to the President recently. The report had recommended establishing a Presidential Commission of Inquiry and the formulation of a mechanism to implement the recommendations. The Gazette has also vested the Special Presidential Commission to present recommendations based on the findings of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry that probed into incidents of political victimization.
Welcome back to the news. Taking a look at other local stories, a tremor had been experienced in the Akiri area in Lunugala today. The chairman of the Geological Survey and Mines Bureau, Anra Walpula, said that the tremor had occurred between 2:59 and 3 a.m.
The tremor that was recorded at a magnitude of nearly 2.0 had been felt in the villages of Egodagama, Alutwatta, Pallewela, Naramgaha Ulpata and Kiulahene in Akiria. According to the Geological Survey and Mines Bureau, the tremor had been recorded in the seismometers located in Pallekele, Mahakandarawa, Hakmana and Buddangala.
22ක භූමිකම්පාවක් වුණා 23 වුණා ඊයර පාන්දර 3ට ආයි භූමිකම්පාවක් වුණා කොමාරි ගම දෙදරන තත්ත්වයකව තිබුණා සුල්දිරේට මොනහරි වැටෙනා වගේ සද්දක් ඇහුණා එතකොටම මම හිටපු ඇඳ ඉඳන් හිටපු ඇඳ හෙලුණා.
On the 22nd of this month, a tremor with a magnitude of 1.8 had been recorded near the Walpene area. Since the 29th of August last year, several tremors have occurred across areas located in the vicinity of the Victoria Dam. The tremor on the 29th of August had been recorded with a magnitude of 3.5, while the preceding tremors on the 2nd and 11th of September were of a magnitude below 2.0. However, the tremor that had been experienced on the 18th of November had been recorded with a magnitude ranging between 2.5 and 3.5 on the Richter scale. The fifth tremor on the 29th of November had been recorded at a magnitude of 1.5 on the Richter scale. Against such a backdrop, 4 tremors had been recorded on the 5th of December in the same area with a magnitude less than 1 or 2.0 on the Richter scale. An expert committee appointed to investigate the tremors had revealed that limestone quarrying and blasting had been rampant along the left bank of the Mahaveli River. The report pointed out that mining has been taking place in the vicinity of the Victoria Dam. The recommendations of the committee are as follows. Conduct a continuous monitoring process on a long-term basis, educating the public based on changes in seismic data in the area, run a temporary high-sensitive network covering these areas, carry out quarrying under a strict time window based on a pre-agreed schedule, conduct a study into quarrying and blasting activities that have occurred in the area and on the left bank of the Mahaveli River, and to maintain 4 seismic stations at fully functional levels. Meanwhile, the Environment Ministry has decided to remove limestone and rock quarries operating within a 100-meter radius of the Victoria Dam.
The tremors are sparked by the gradual upliftment of land levels amidst several geological changes taking place across the country. The other factor is limestone quarrying. All these factors may aggravate the tremors. Maintaining quarries in the vicinity of the dam has been suspended. But we have received information mining is continuing to take place in the area by disregarding these recommendations.
We have 4 seismic centers in this country, including Hakmana, Mahakandarawa and Pallekele. There are certain limestone industries around the Victoria Reservoir. So, though the committee doesn't think that this industry is a cause for this, as a precautionary measure, they have recommended that within 100 meters of the reservoir, limestone industry to be suspended, and then between 100 meters and 200, the limestone industry to be allowed with certain severe restrictions.
We have received information that all tremors are not of a dangerous magnitude. We will implement the recommendations of the committee.
Since the first tremor was recorded last year, News First has continued to report on the conditions that may have paved the way for these tremors. We will continue to report on these matters as the lives of the people must be protected in any worse circumstances.
State Ministry of Primary Health Services, Pandemics and COVID-19 Prevention has said that Sri Lanka will make an order for 2.5 million doses of the AstraZeneca Covishield vaccine from India.
Dr. Amal Harsha De Silva said the order will be placed by the State Pharmaceutical Corporation and the consignment is expected to reach Sri Lanka in a month. He further said that the stock of vaccines is to be imported within a month.
We hope to import a large number of vaccines. Necessary procedures are in place to import the Pfizer vaccine. We hope that 3.5 million doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine will be brought down. Under the COVAX facility of the World Health Organization, 20% of Sri Lanka will be given these vaccines. These vaccines would be given with a priority to people above the age of 60 with complications, those with diabetes, high blood pressure and heart disease.
The Indian government recently donated 500,000 jabs of the AstraZeneca Covishield vaccine to Sri Lanka, and it is currently being administered to health workers and officers of the Tri-Forces. Police officers engaged in COVID-19 prevention duties were given the jabs today.
Another 882 COVID-19 patients recovered today, bringing the total number of COVID-19 recoveries in the country to 57,159. The total number of COVID-19 patients in the country stands at 64,157, while 6,685 patients are currently under medical care. Now, according to the Epidemiology Unit of the Ministry of Health, the total number of COVID-19 deaths has risen to 313. Meanwhile, plantation workers staged protests today seeking an increment of their daily wage up to 1,000 rupees.
The National Estate Workers Union had organized a protest in Pasara today. The protesters insisted they would not give up their struggle until their daily wages are increased to 1,000 rupees. Meanwhile, plantation workers in Mathale also staged a protest, demanding that their daily wages be increased up to 1,000 rupees. The protest was staged along the Alkadua-Watthigama main road.
The Sunday Times newspaper has reported that the government has decided to gazette a minimum wage of 1,000 rupees for estate workers. The report notes that this decision was made after failing to reach a consensus with plantation companies. However, regional plantation companies have come up with a final proposal suggesting workers could earn more than 1,000 rupees daily while maintaining 725 rupees as a basic wage. However, with the government's insistence that the basic salary of 1,000 rupees be given, the cabinet has approved a proposal to solve this issue through the Wages Board. According to the report, India's Adani Group, that has drawn criticism with regard to Colombo Port's East Container Terminal, has become the center of discussion among plantation companies. The Sunday Times reported that while there is a dispute between the plantation companies and the government over worker wages, there is a speculation that the government is planning to take over some underperforming regional plantation companies and to allow Adani Group.
We see a connection between Narendra Modi's rule in India and Gotabaya's rule in Sri Lanka. Both authorities incorporate racism, which pushes the people towards extremist behavior. They stoke nationalist sentiments and pledge to protect national assets. However, after some time, the businessmen who are allies of the government appear in the picture. The Adani Group and Ambani are business allies of the Modi government. These large businesses have the ability to suppress and influence the media and the police. Sri Lanka is facing a similar situation. Although they create a picture to show that the government follows strict policies, the administration is controlled by businesses and its financial capital.
පාලනයක් විදියට තියෙද්දි මේ යටින් තියෙනවා ව්‍යාපාරික ප්‍රාග්ධනය මූලික කරගත්ත ඊටම කුමන්ත්‍රණකාරී ආධිපත්‍යයක්.
Human rights watchdog Amnesty International has said that the UN Human Rights Council must take urgent steps to address the worsening human rights situation in Sri Lanka.
Amnesty International has issued a statement with reference to the annual report of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights ahead of the 46th UN Human Rights Council sessions. David Griffiths, an Amnesty International director, said that the findings mentioned in the report highlights the urgent need for the UN Human Rights Council to step up its efforts in Sri Lanka. He added that the report lays bare Sri Lanka's abject record on delivering justice and accountability and the decaying effect this has had on human rights in the country. The Human Rights Watchdog has also called on the UNHRC to implement the report's key recommendations on human rights in Sri Lanka. The 46th sessions of the UN Human Rights Council will begin on the 22nd of February and run until the 23rd of March. An interactive dialogue surrounding the High Commissioner's report on Sri Lanka is scheduled to take place on the 24th of next month.
Time for a short commercial break. Stay with me. Welcome back. You're with News First. Dry rations were provided to the welfare committees in the Colombo municipal area yesterday.
The event was held at the Sucharetha premises in Colombo under the patronage of Hema Premadasa. Dulanjali Premadasa, MP Mujibur Rahman and several others were also present. Chairs, roofing sheets and many other essential items have been provided to all welfare committees in the Colombo Municipal Council area.
And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Primetime News. You can log on to our award-winning website www.newsfirst.lk for details of these stories. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Arundhati Mudannaika. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night.